All right, third grade, welcome to another math lesson with Mr. G. We're going to be starting a new subject for us this time. Today we're going to be dealing with fractions and everything to deal with 1/2. So some of you might have played the game I Spy before. I know I've definitely tried it with my class during virtual learning. And so how I Spy works is that you get a picture, right? And in this picture, you have to look for a certain thing. Kind of like Where's Waldo, where you're trying to find the little Waldo in the picture, and you have to look really hard to find the different things that they're asking you to look for. Today we're going to be playing a game called I Spy 1/2. And so I know some of you are wondering, what do you mean I spy 1/2? That's not really like an object we can look at and spy, is it? Well, actually, when I was thinking about it, you can kind of spy and find 1/2 like everywhere in life. From maybe the most common way you think of 1/2 is like when you get a pizza and maybe you get 1/2 of the pizza is pepperoni and 1/2 of the pizza is cheese or something else that your family likes. And the reason why you do 1/2 like that is because there might be half of the people on your family or your friends that like one type of pizza and the other half like another type of pizza. So that's just one way that we find 1/2 and maybe that you've seen in life. Other ways that you've probably seen 1/2, if you are a fan of treats and cookies like Mr. G, you might have dipped some of your cookies in chocolate, and maybe you only want 1/2 of your cookie dipped in chocolate. So I'm sorry to make you hungry, but that's maybe one way. Another way is if you've ever had siblings, and sometimes you might come home and really looking forward to that last donut in the box, but find out that half of it's already eaten. And so that's one way you can find 1/2. Half of it isn't there. Half of it's gone already in someone else's tummy, but half of it is still there for you to enjoy if you want. Other ways you can find 1/2 are definitely maybe some people like in their clothes or their hairstyles. I've definitely seen some people who get half their hair dyed one color and half the hair the other. So that's definitely 1/2 that I've seen in life. So all the kind of 1/2s we've been talking about so far in life are continuous 1/2s, or where 1/2 is easily split within a line. But I also want to point out that 1/2 also looks like other ways. For example, if you've ever seen the yin and yang sign, which is often a symbol of peace and destruction and like good and bad, they kind of complement each other. But in this yin and yang sign, the 1/2 doesn't really go in a straight line. It's kind of like a sway. And also, there's two little circles on the opposite sides of the yin and the yang that make it 1/2. But if you're going to look at this circle, this yin and yang sign, you could definitely see that half of it is white and half of it is black. Another way that 1/2 can't be Another way 1/2 isn't necessarily continuous and one stretch of it being a solid line through it is maybe patterns, like a checkered pattern. For example, if you've ever been to a car racing event, you'll see that the checkered flags that they use to mark whether you've crossed the finish line or to go is definitely half black and half white, but it isn't a solid white line. It's definitely checkered in that there's a bunch of black and white boxes, but if you were to count them all up, you see that it's exactly 1/2 black and 1/2 white. So for this challenge today, I want you to find 5 different ways that you can find 1/2 in the picture I'm going to show you. But first, we're going to practice on one and see how you can actually show 1/2 and kind of highlight it using Google Slides. And after that, I'll give you the nice big picture and see if you can find those 5 different ways you can find 1/2. So you're going to have to use your I Spy eyes really good and try your best. Here we go. All right, everyone. The first one we're going to be looking at is this first 1/2 that we have right here. I am asking you, I kind of zoomed in on our bigger picture that we're going to be looking at here. But can you find any other ways to spot 1/2 in this picture? Mr. G highlighted in red. Over here, one way I found 1/2. So if you look in this square, you can see half of the square is shaded in and half of it is still blank. And so this shows 1/2. And so that was one way I could find 1/2. So if you notice any other ways you might spy 1/2 in this part, you can definitely go ahead and practice in this small concentrated section of the picture we're going to be looking at later. For example, Mr. G might notice that some of you might say that right up here is 1/2. You have this whole square right here that's white, and this whole square right here that is filled in and that's shaded in. So if you compare this rectangle right here, this would be 1/2. Another 1/2 that you might have noticed is right here. kind of like we talked about before, this is non-continuous in that this is 1/2 in that we have this part that's shaded and this part that's shaded, but we have these two that are blank. But if you look at this whole rectangle, it's half of it's shaded in and half is still blank. So it's kind of like this shape right here, but there's two of them instead, and we still consider that as a 1/2. Pretty cool. Yeah, these are just two of the ones I noticed um, right here looking at this again, but this is the one that Mr. G noticed right away as 1/2. So for your task for today, Mr. G wants you to find, again, 5 ways you can spy 1/2 in this picture. And Mr. G will go ahead and say that try and find different ways to find 1/2. I'll even update it on here right now. 5 different ways. So for example, if I was going to use this right here, this half shaded in triangle, half not shaded in, I can't just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and find 5 of those 1/2s that way. I want to find different ways I can find 1/2 in this picture because there are tons of them, trust me. So if you want to use one of those ways for that, that's just fine, but you need to find 5 different ways to find it. So this is a really cool like I Spy game, and that's all we're kind of doing today. So Mr. G is going to show you how you can go ahead and use the polyline tool to go ahead and mark 1/2. So here we go. I'm just going to go up here to the top. I'm going to click this arrow and go down to polyline. Kind of looks like the arrow chevron right here called polyline, P-O-L-Y-L-I-N. Click it, and then this is how you can go ahead and outline your shapes. For example, if I wanted to use this as my example like I did in the last one, I could start making line down, then this way, click, go up, click, and go across, click. And I'll make my shape like that. Now you notice if I do it like this, it'll be a filled in shape. So what I wanna do is go back here, go to transparent to not fill it in, and I'll change the color over here to maybe red. Easier for eyes to see. That's one way that you can find 1/2. So you're gonna look at this picture and see what other ways you can find 1/2 in this picture, 5 different ways at least that you can find 1/2. If you want, you can definitely find more. And lastly, explain your thinking. How many times did you find 1/2? If you found 5, that's great. You can write you found 5. But if you wanted to challenge yourself and you wanted to see if you could find more ways, go ahead and try that and tell me how many ways you found 1/2. And I want to see if you found if there are non-continuous ways that you made 1/2. Kind of like our example that we made right here, and the yin and yang and the checkered flag. Were there any patterns you saw that were 1/2, but that weren't really 1/2 that were cut into 2 pieces? So you can go ahead and mark and say if you found any non-continuous ways of 1/2 as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy lesson of finding 1/2, and we'll get to more practice with fractions in our next lessons now that we're moving to fractions. So I'm excited to see you for the next one. See you next time.